Everybody, welcome to the Jay Young Show. I'm the host, Jay Young of King Operating, and we are excited today because we got a lot of things to talk about. I want to bring Jordan on first. Jordan, my co-host, Jordan Soto. Hey, Jordan, how you doing today?
How are you, Jay? You staying warm? I feel like Dallas is kind of getting hit with that cold spell.
Yeah, we are, and you know it's kind of weird when it's not 100 degrees outside. You know, just like Houston with the humidity. But no, we're doing good. We got a lot of great things to talk about. I mean, man, what a great episodes that we had with June Hunt. Man, what a
Gosh, I know.
amazing woman.
She just really, I mean, talk about somebody who's doing the Lord's work. I mean, she really is. And what a like just a genuine person with a really sweet demeanor and just wants to help and has such like a giving personality. It's
She
awesome.
does. She really does, and she spends the tremendous amount of her time. Hope everybody gets to watch it. I think we're doing 2 episodes on that, so catch one of them or both of them because incredible. I mean, it was that family, the H.L. Hunt. She's the daughter of H.L. Hunt, one of the wives of H.L. Hunt, and you know it's an incredible amount of money that company that guy generated for oil and gas in the East Texas oil fields. And I was talking to Ray Hunt. Ray's a good friend, and Ray is also June's brother, the son of one of the daughters, Ruth Ann. And I was talking to Ray, and I said, Ray, what an incredible amount of money that your dad generated in the East Texas oil fields. But the biggest thing is, I mean, there's like 14 children, you know,
I know.
and there's so much money that's spread out toward all these, but they've done such good things with it. They've done
And
such
I
good things.
And that's the important part, like I think whenever people think about the energy industry, it's really easy to dehumanize it because there's such a narrative around the efforts that the energy industry has taken on, especially oil and gas. But the oil and gas industry hasn't really done a proactive approach until late, as of late, to kind of take the reins of that narrative. And also, they were figuring it out. Like it's still being figured out, especially in like the renewable space and things like that. But, you're figuring out how to do things better and safer and more efficiently over time. And so, we're in a much better place now, taking care of the workers, taking care of the industry and the planet in the process.
Yeah. Air
And I think
pollution.
that's something that's just not really talked about. And I think Chevron, the human company, that tagline that they have now, it's everybody is trying to get together to like tell the story that like these are people and these people are here to help your life.
Right.
And their life matters just like your life matters and the quality of your life matters. And
Yeah.
so that's I think June is doing such a great job of like taking what was given to her from the energy industry and then get and distributing that wealth in not just a monetary sense but also a spiritual sense,
Yeah.
which
And the money they
really
spend every year on charity. No telling how much money Ray Hunt, gives to charities. He's been a great job of scouting. And there was a, I said, Ray, no telling how much money you guys give to charities and especially scouting and Christianity and they
yeah.
have that Hope Center that they built up at Custer and Plano Parkway in Plano, 185,000 square feet. They don't ask a dime from anybody. They don't ask a dime from anybody. People do donate, but it's like an incredible thing that they've done. But I want to mention some recent events. We had the Nancy Lieberman. I'm a big believer in Nancy Lieberman's cause and her vision for dream courts. She built, there's millions of dollars that have been raised, and 5.5 million children have been affected because of Nancy Lieberman and building dream courts and they're doing a joint venture with Boys Club, and they're going into old established basketball courts, rebuilding them on the new AstroTurf, spending $150,000, and then going in with Boys Club so they'll help manage it. But they're giving away basketballs, hundreds of basketballs a year, to kids. The cops are giving away basketballs. I mean, Nancy Lieberman is just an incredible. She's been on the show a couple of times, and she's just a great person. And I love her vision about what she's doing. And then recently I went to the Rex Tillerson Legends, talking about somebody that is an incredible individual. Rex Tillerson, that guy, he worked for ExxonMobil, talking about oil and gas, 41 years, and then he was Secretary of State. But incredible individual. I mean, he was, every night when he lays down, he says a scout saying, I mean, what a great guy that is. And he received the Legends Award in scouting. It was just an incredible event that we went to. But anyway, so I don't want to get off. I just want to talk about recent events. But June Hunt prayed with us before the event, before we started on the podcast, and we did not record that, Emilio.
Our
we did.
producer.
But she did. She prayed with us before. But I tell you what, too, amazing. I mean, Ray Hunt looks like HL in a sense, but there is no question that June Hunt is HL's daughter. Man, I could not believe when I first saw her on the show how much they look alike. So it's great family, a lot of great events. But I tell you what, it's let's go ahead and bring on our next victim. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, no.
Not our next victim. I'm sorry. This is going to be really cool. Barrie Arnold is the co-founder, and he's going to talk about all these names because they're French or something. Boisson, but it's all about the non-alcoholic. So where's Barrie? Barrie, there you are. Hey, welcome to the show, Barrie.
I'm here. Good morning. Ready to be your next victim.
I know Jordan talks like that. I don't talk like that at all, but that's just Jordan's. That's Jordan's personality. But anyway, talking about
Bardelia.
Yeah.
That's the new brand.
That is. And we're excited to be a part of the community. I'm ready to take your questions. And I grew up in Northwest Florida. And so from time to time, I get a lot of questions about what are non-alcoholic drinks? What's this mocktail thing going on? Who are these for? I'll give you a tease here. 90% of our customers actually still drink alcohol. So just looking to, kind of backfill some of their time and maybe you want to, have a beer, but you want to wake up feeling fresh the next day. So we have a ton of products there for that.
There's so many different opportunities that people have to go out and that's why I don't drink anymore. I quit drinking. Matter of fact, December 31st will be my 30th year of sobriety. I know. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. But I just drank too much. I couldn't stop. I've said my story several times on the show, but when I was back in high school, college, and afterwards, I drank. I can't stop. When I start, I can't stop. And it'd have been different if I'd have had 3 or 4 beers or whatever, and then gone to a non-alcoholic and said, okay, I've had enough. I wasn't that smart. I mean, I couldn't stop. But I quit drinking 30 years ago.
People struggle with that, Jay. I think a lot of people struggle with that because it's one of those things, and I think that's often not talked about because people are like, oh, I'm just having fun. I'm just having a blast. But like, if every time you're going to go and drink, you're just chasing the high or the fun of it, then it defeats the purpose, right? Because the purpose is really like to be social and to have fun. And then when it goes too far, that's the tough part. But then also like Barrie was saying, it is never fun to wake up with a hangover. In college, it's a little bearable, but then once you get like 30 years old, you're like, all right, now it's 3 days long. Like, what is happening here? Why is that happening?
Right. Well, and DWIs and things is kind of the reason why I went that direction as well, because, man, I just couldn't. It's like I went to DWIs. I got my probation officer. My probation officer said, hey, have you ever thought about not drinking? And I said, well, why, And what's the fun in that, But they said, well, there's people out there to help you. And so, this guy that I ran into, I went to treatment, and this guy in treatment, really big big guy, bigger than me, standing up, and he told me, he said, "You know what? If you can never drink, you can never have alcohol touch your lips ever again if you want to stay sober. That's just the way you're built, dude. I'm sorry, but that's just part of your chemistry, makeup, personality. I don't know. It's probably a combination of all of them. Bless you." But just thinking about the whole thing and just thinking, and so I quit drinking for like 6 months, and then after that I was going to prove him wrong, and went back to drinking just like I did before. So it didn't work out. So I had to quit 100% of the time, which I did on I think it was December 31st, 94. Well, that was my last night to drink, was Christmas Eve, and then January 1st, 1995 was my first day. But anyway, but I just can't drink. It's just one of those things that, people can, my wife can have, Michelle, she can have one or two or whatever. And I'll run around a lot of people that.
I don't get that. Like, I'm the same way. Like, I struggle so much, and like, it takes a lot of willpower to like stop after like 2. And I have like this itch where I'm like, so actually, Jay, I decided to stop drinking in June, and I haven't had anything since.
Oh, wait. Hey.
And so, yay,
Yeah, good for you. Congratulations.
But Barrie, to your point, like, you have a lot of family in Florida. I recently went back to Pensacola, where we met, so a decade ago, and just like so many people there. There's still so many people smoking cigarettes. Everybody's drinking. It's a beach scene. The bar scene's all over the place. There's not a lot to do, so you go to the bars and the beach bars and things like that. And so, tell us a little bit more about like how this came to be, because I know that you were working at another company similar to this before. There were lessons learned. You've started this own venture on your own. So talk a little bit about like what brought you into this. Is this something that you fell into? Was your journey kind of the same of Jay and mine, or like what brought you into that space? And then how did it get to where it is today with your own company?
Yeah, great question. And actually, I'll pick and choose some of the points that the both of you said there. I've been in the space for almost 4 years. This is my second company in the space. Started it actually with a lot of things happening, and a lot of kind of points pointing toward what I felt God had me to do. One of them was my own father changed his relationship with alcohol when we were very, very young. Like Jay was mentioning, he was a social drinker, had to go and meet his friends at the bar pretty much every day after work. And because of that, started spending less time at home and decided to give it up. When I started my first company in early 2021, I was actually doing dry January, which I know a lot of your community will probably recognize. Wasn't a big thing back then. It's starting to be larger and larger now, simply where you decide not to drink for a month. And it happening at the beginning of the year helps to, kind of reboot your system for the year ahead. And then also happening was my sister was pregnant. So we started to learn about a lot of these brands that I now carry, that we carried at my former company. And we started seeing like big time trends of things that were and patterns that people were developing. I think one thing that's very interesting is we're in this shift as a society of deciding, I really want to pay attention to what I'm putting in my body. I want things that are good for me, that I don't need a chemistry degree to read the label on. Jay, one thing that I was thinking of when you were talking about your story is, a lot of just the act of going and drinking beer, wine, spirits, cocktails, mocktails, what have you, is really the ritual. It's not necessarily what's contained in the glass. It's, drinking anything is by definition soothing. And so if you use it to celebrate with your friends and your family and, in a social setting, what we've seen is, it really doesn't matter that alcohol is contained in that drink. yes, it gives you a little bit of buzz, lowers your inhibitions a bit. But for the most part, and I'm going to, much to my chagrin, I'm going to borrow something my dad told me, which is you don't need to have alcohol to have fun. And so, with that in mind, we started Bardelia and are really leaning into what we see as a pretty large movement.
Where'd that name come from?
Oh, that's a great question. So,
Bardelia, is that what this is?
Yeah, you got it.
No, redneck here, redneck alert on names with there. No, I'm just kidding.
you're among friends here. I think though the genesis, or I know the genesis was this simply, we wanted something that would stand out. One of the things that I've learned in my entrepreneurial journey has been, you want to take the best lessons that you've learned along the way. And so we were looking for a name that was something that was not overly used in the marketplace. And that of course was to improve SEO. You think Warby Parker, you think Sephora, you think Aritzia, the names that are very strong and can stand alone by themselves. We also wanted something that would call into memory the drinking culture. So we wanted something that was maybe like bar or cheers or, celebrate or wine or something that had to do with that. And so Alexa, my partner, and she and I started just smashing together some names. We were keeping a document. We were using names from the Bible, names from like Greek and Roman mythology that we liked. And we began to smash things up and we came up with Bardelia. We also like that it has deli in the middle because one of the plans that we have for our brick and mortar stores that will be coming online soon is we want to have charcuterie moments. We want to have the opportunity to go in and buy some food to have with your drinks. And as they would have it, Bardelia actually is a word that's used in the Middle East that actually means new beginnings. And so for me personally and for a lot of our customers, that name and that idea is very powerful.
Wow. I was thinking Pam Anderson when you said something about Bardelia. Then you mentioned the Bible. So let's don't go there. So this is brick and mortar.
You had to stop thinking about Pam Anderson when I said Bible, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Well, she did something with that bar. So anyway, never mind. Change subject. So is it online brick and mortar stores is what we're moving towards? And you said 90% of the people, 90% out of your customers, 90% still drink.
That's right. And we're online only for now. So, I grew up Southern Baptist, where you weren't allowed to drink or dance. And, so we're able to ship all across the country, and we have been since January. So, a lot of Southern Baptists in my home church in Pensacola, Florida have been receiving shipments. But yes, the brick and mortars are very much a part of our plan. What we found when looking at how a lot of major cities, a lot of social clubs and whatnot, particularly after COVID, we're seeing like a leaning back into wanting to have experiences. We were stuck at home for a little bit. We're wanting to get back into specialty retail, back into places where we can find community. I read the other day that Barnes & Noble is now opening up 60 stores by the end of the year. So we're seeing a return to brick and mortar in a big way. For us, it's very important because, this is a new industry with new products. And so discovery and, sampling is very, very important. So we'll be utilizing those stores not only to accomplish those goals, but also to take some pressure off our fulfillment center in Connecticut right now. And I think Jay, one thing that's very interesting is one of the questions that our investors ask frequently is, how do you compete in an Amazon world? And so we'll actually use our brick and mortar stores as mini fulfillment centers in order to, start competing with the time that it takes to deliver. Because right now, for our customers in California, it can take a few days. But once we have stores on the West Coast, we'll be able to mitigate that a bit.
So
Okay.
one of the things that we had talked about offline in preparation to the show was because you had reached out to me and we had reconnected after so long, and one of the things that you were talking about was how you are in like a raising capital stance right now. And that's something that I think Jay can really speak to, because Jay, you're raising money right now as well, I believe. And so like, tell us a little bit more about like what that's like, because I mean, I'm sure that it's tough to get people like invested in this. There's a little bit of a learning curve. There's a little bit of these things along the way. So like when you're looking to raise capital, and then Jay, I want to have your perspective on this as well and see if there's any similarities or any differences, because it's like we've talked about this in the past, Jay, where you have to, it takes money to make money. And so you have to have a little bit of that buy-in power. And so Barry, talk a little bit about that fundraising. And then Jay, I want your thoughts on that fundraising that he's doing.
Yeah, great question. I think one thing that, like I'll piggyback off of what I just said is building community here is very, very important. And so we wanted to do that, not just with our customers, not just with like our team members at Bardelia, but also like with our investors. We're looking for people who believe what we believe, who, are seeing the shift that's happening and want to be a part of it. And I think the category in the industry is just so ripe for explosion right now. And so we knew that we could, bootstrap it to the point where we are now, but to get to where we want to be, to really be good stewards of this moment, we needed to raise some money. And so we set out several months ago to raise $1 million. We've raised about 200,000 already.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We had a Republic crowd raise that just closed several days ago. That we really allowed folks who wanted to come in at a smaller investment level than we would naturally do. And so we used that vehicle quite successfully. We're looking to utilize the media and the press relationships that I've cultivated over the last 4 years. Alexa and I were interviewed by Axios last week. We have been featured in Forbes. We've got a few more on the horizon. And so, we're not raising money just for the sake of raising money. We're raising money to really shore up the opportunities that we have. We've got some opportunities later this year to acquire some existing non-alcoholic bottle shops across the U.S. And so I think it's all about community here. It's about bringing the right people to the table. One thing that, again, like as a two-time founder, you have to, win friends and influence people here. You've got to build community. You've got to get the right people on the team. And so we can do that quite organically, and we have been, but we've now built the rocket ship. We just need fuel to put in it. And so that's why we're raising money.
Oh, okay. Hey, so who are these people on the front of this? Is that you?
Are
Is
you
that
on their website right now?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if we can go on. Can you share your screen, Barry, and try to figure out who, what, or can you not share your screen? Just show the website real quick.
Yeah, I can try.
Yeah, I don't know. Emilio, does that work out or no?
I mean, I was Googling Pam Anderson, so I need to click up there. So I think I'll
Boo Morella? No.
Okay, here we go. Putting me on the spot here. Can you see it?
Absolutely.
Yes,
No, who's that over there? Is that you?
That's me. That's better than I looked this morning, I think.
It looks good.
And then this is our site. And so, as you can see, we've tried to. This is the third iteration of our site. We're trying to link.
Now, what are all those bottles? Who owns those bottles? I'm sorry. I'm. You asked me about raising money. I'm thinking about Shark Tank, and I'm thinking about now. Is that your brand, or is that a brand that you're selling?
Well, for the low price of $17, you can own this bottle, Jay. But jokes aside, We are a retailer, so we go out and scout out the best products from across the globe that we can find. We have them in our warehouse, our fulfillment partner's warehouse in Connecticut. One of the things that, I think as an entrepreneur you'll appreciate is there are several pitfalls that I've learned along the way in the last 4 years, and one of them is warehousing and 3PLs can be quite expensive. And the cost of having these bottles in a warehouse and then paying workers to put these bottles in a box can be quite expensive. And so we're working with a fulfillment partner that is also selling these products in their stores. It's actually a line of liquor stores in Connecticut. And so we don't pay for any of these bottles, to your question, until they're sold.
Okay.
And so it really allows us to utilize capital in different ways. If I can, I'd love to walk you through just one other feature here that Jordan and I were talking about. If you can give me 30 seconds.
Is that you and Alexa?
That is Alexa. Yes, it is. And that's actually in Sonoma. So this is grapes being made. You can see that, like, if you go over to our wine section, most all of these wines are made, in Sonoma or other places where wine is made to be wine. And then it goes through a process to actually remove the alcohol from it.
Wow.
And so the whites and the rosés are quite good.
Well, that's what I was going to say. There's such a variety there. Like I didn't expect, I was expecting like, I don't know what I was expecting, but I was expecting like, I feel like nowadays they have like the, it's not high noon, but like the 0 proof seltzers or something like that. So whenever, we were talking about it, like originally that's like what came to my mind. So to see that there's actually like rosé and things like that, like, yes, let's rosé all day.
Yeah, and a lot of brands you would recognize as well. So this is Wolfer Estates. This is a vineyard that's near me on Long Island. They make a rosé called Summer in a bottle. This is their Spring in a bottle. Gießen that I just rode by. I don't know where it is now. They are in New Zealand. They make and sell wine with alcohol in it. They also have de-alcoholized wine that we sell. So there's a lot of, this is a Sutter Homes brand, free, ironically, the most searched non-alcoholic wine in America. But what I was going to show you guys real quick, and I was in, SaaS and technology sales once upon a time, so I'm not going to actually demo this. I'll let, I don't want to tempt fate here, but, this is, I spoke with my dad earlier. When I was young, we used to watch reruns of Cheers back in the day, and if you're a fan of Cheers, you'll remember Sam the bartender, and so this is Sam, our sip advisor. And so
there you go.
One of the things that we've built into the site is the industry's first fully conversational AI chat agent. So you can see something that I've asked it just the other day. But you can actually go in and say, I'm hosting some people for Thanksgiving. Someone is pregnant. Someone is gluten-free. What should I serve that would go great with turkey? And Sam will spit out 3 recommendations.
Oh, that's great.
It's so important because like alongside not being able to drink really, also I cannot do the gluten. And I didn't know that in college. I was like, man, does everybody get this bloated after drinking beer? And all my friends were like, yeah, but it's great. And I'm like, I don't know. This is lasting days. Like, so to be able to do rosé or something like that, that's just gluten free. And they have ciders now as well that are
so 178 products available for you, Jordan, that are gluten free.
Really?
Well, we've tried to go ahead and like think about the big categories of how folks would like interact with us, and so we've built out on the website, things that Jay, like for people that you mentioned earlier that you never want to have any alcohol, even if it's 0.5% on your lips. We have that pre-sorted. So if you're truly looking for 0.0, if you're vegan, if you're gluten-free, if you're, expecting or breastfeeding, you can, have products that we've gone ahead and certified that are safe for you. We have that all built out on the site.
So question for you here, Barrie, and that is, and this may be a super ridiculous question, but the vegan option there, like how is a beverage not vegan?
So that's a great question. I think that there are likely, now keep in mind that the industry right now is very new. I think most of us on listening right now would be able to recognize a few products. Certainly our Duals comes to mind that we've seen. But we're really what I call like a Steve and Steve in their garage figuring out Apple in the moment right now.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of companies that are experimenting with a lot of different recipes. And so that's my very fancy way of saying I don't exactly know, but I know that there's a lot of ingredients going into a lot of products right now. But we wanted to make sure to like really specify that we know for a fact that these are truly vegan, truly gluten-free, truly pregnancy safe.
Wow.
Got it.
Unbelievable. That's great. So tell me about the investment. What do you're raising $1 million. You already raised 20% of it. And tell me, if I wanted to invest, where would I go? And what is the money going to be used for?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we set up, you can, the easiest way if you don't want to, particularly write anything down would be just go to the website and the contact form, and that'll eventually get to me. The second easiest way is to email me at investors@bardelia.com. That goes straight to me. But would love to have a conversation with anyone that is interested. So the main ways that it will be used is building out our first 4 brick and mortar stores. We're using what is the technical term is rent arbitrage. The easiest way for me to understand it is, as I'm driving along Interstate 10, I haven't told you guys yet, but my older sister actually lives in East Texas. I heard East Texas being said earlier today. But if I was driving along Interstate 10 from Pensacola back in the day, in order to jump up once I get to Baton Rouge, I would pass by some gas stations that would have a Burger King or a McDonald's in them. That's the easiest way that I have to explain rent arbitrage. Krispy Kreme is starting to go into every McDonald's. What we want to do is in our brick and mortar stores, bring in other successful brands that are tangentially related to what we're trying to do. So think, like I said earlier, charcuterie, think maybe cut flowers, think maybe like a small boutique, just to make sure that we're bringing in the right customers, that we're getting a head start off other brands' SEO and marketing in order to drive customers into our store. So the first and main way is to make sure that our brick and mortar stores are up online. On our team, we have deep expertise in Google advertising, digital media. So we'll start to, as we already have with the close of the Republic round, start to run ads and targeted ads, and then to build out the team. So we know we need a few more full-timers on the team. And so those are the 3 main categories that we'll be using there.
And what kind of growth are you looking at? Or like Juno's Liquor, which is a guy we had on not long ago, Jordan, I did. He wants to go 5 stores a year, 5 liquor stores a year for 5 years. Then he wants to sell to a bigger brand. What is it? Is that something that you wouldn't do this, or brick and mortar? Are you looking to be on the other side?
That, Jay, because I believe that, like, Barrie, your last company, that's kind of what happened is you had built it up, and then there was different vision for what the company was going to do, and so you guys had ended up taking that route of selling, or I maybe have misunderstood that, but that's why you decided to take this on and build this up, because this was something that you're really passionate about and wanted to continue to continuously invest in. So but I'm interested to hear Jay, the answer to Jay's question.
Yeah, that's great context. And so, as I mentioned earlier, firmly believe in a retail strategy, firmly believe in the customer experience focus that we've taken. And I think, again, learning from the lessons of what others have tried to do and failed at doing, you have to find more creative ways to use the space. You have to cut your costs in a big way. And so, Jay, to answer your question, yes, we have planned a big number of stores by 2028. We'd like to have 50. We do that by in part acquiring some that we know that are on the board and able to be acquired. We also do that by bringing deep expertise to the table. I've mentioned McDonald's and Krispy Kreme and Burger King, so I'm now hungry again after breakfast. But we've brought on expertise from Dunkin' now, which is the world's largest franchiser. And so I had to say the F word in order to tell you like the real secret sauce and how we expand quite quickly, and that's through a franchise model. So we think that we have a winning model. Our investors and the market have agreed so far. And so that's how we get to, kind of that mass expansion that we know that the moment needs. And it will look differently than it will in Dallas, Houston, New York City, than it will in Pensacola, Florida. But, we know from looking at the data, from having conversations, that this model will work in a location, no matter the size, because there's such a vast shift happening. I'll tell you guys a stat that when I first read it, I didn't believe it, but then I started just, anecdotally asking folks, their experience. But 50% of Gen Z, which is roughly around, think 17 to 25-year-olds, 50% of that generation has never even tried alcohol. So, I just walked you through our site where you likely were able to see rosés and gins and vodkas and, lagers and IPAs. Gen Z doesn't know what that means. They have never, they can't tell you a difference between a Chardonnay and a Merlot.
So SEO wise, what do you do?
Well, you really target that. And you target, words and phrases like Cali sober. You target THC, CBD. You target adaptogens, nootropics. And then, the really good thing about where we sit is I don't have to rely solely on my marketing to drive customers to our site. Mm-hmm. As a retailer of hundreds of brands, I get to piggyback on what they're doing. And so, as you're out there and you see, someone mentioned Shark Tank earlier. So you're out there and you see Gia, or you see Ritual, or you see Seedlip, which is now owned by Diageo. And you Google that, we do an excellent job, and we'll do an even better job after funding of making sure that that we have that available for you to order. Where the brick and mortar strategy comes in there is if you're sitting in your apartment in Dallas and you Google any of those phrases or terms or companies, one thing that I learned years ago is Google gives preferential treatment for you to get that thing that you're searching for right now. And if you think about it, that makes sense. It makes sense for the customer. It makes sense for the retailer. It makes sense for everyone. And so if you have a store in close proximity to someone who is searching for Gia, you're going to come up. And so we're harnessing those sorts of strategies to make sure that we become and stay the provider of choice here.
Well, I know that Jay is probably really interested in this question that I'm about to ask. So because I want to know this. You are looking for investors. People are investing in your product. What is the return, and when will investors see a return? Is that a good question, Jay? I feel like that's
it's good. Hey, how much is it? How much do I make? Right.
That's a great question and almost an impossible question to answer. But look, here's where we're modeling. We think there's a 3 to 5 year horizon where this makes sense. If you look at Anheuser-Busch, you look at Diageo, you look at the big alcohol brands, they're suffering right now. They're losing customers. Diageo, I think, is down around 30% in the last 5 years. And so what we're trying to build is a company with the end in mind. So, we're building something that one of those companies would like to acquire in like a 3 to 5 year time window. As far as the return, again, I once upon a time held various securities licenses. So, this comes with a disclaimer that who knows what it could be. But, we think that there's around 10 to 25x return here. If you take a look at like what similar brands have done based on revenue and what they've been acquired for in the space, we think that's in line of like what we could accomplish. But again, that's anyone's guess. If the trends continue in the way that they are, it could be a lot more. If it continues at the current rate, maybe at the smaller end of the scale, but who knows? But we're extremely bullish. I'm bullish enough to put my time and money into it, and to think on strategies that will diversify our revenue stream just to make sure that we're in a place where we can pivot. But that's how I look at it, and that's how our investors, that's how our board is looking at it now.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. I think we have a hard stop here in a minute, so I wanted to make sure that Jordan gets her questions out. And if do you think?
Okay, so as you've seen your journey, and it's been incredible to follow along with you on LinkedIn, to see how you've navigated your career throughout your time, and since we've met. So if you're looking back over your career trajectory and all the twists and turns that have happened, this entrepreneurial spirit that you've kind of always had, right? But shifted away from corporate America to doing your own thing. And looking back on all of that, what advice would you give to your 18-year-old self sitting where you're sitting now?
Yeah, my 18-year-old self. Well, I don't think this had existed yet, but I would say as soon as it hits YouTube, to watch Steve Jobs' commencement address to Stanford. It is the most impactful thing that I've ever watched. I make it a point to watch it every couple of months just for a refresher. But in that, he says that you can't exactly like see where the universe might be leading you oftentimes by looking forward. You have to do that by looking behind you and trusting that those dots are connecting to lead you to where you need to go. Now, he says it a lot more eloquently than I just took a stab at. But I think, the most interesting thing that I've tried to do with Bardelia is take a look at the lessons learned, take a look at the connections made, and, don't make the same mistake twice. I forget who this quote is attributed to, but, the quote is only a fool trips on what's behind them. And so I think that, stay looking forward, but don't forget to take a look back and say, okay, what is that company doing over here that I can borrow? And so as we build Bardelia, it's not just one idea, it's several ideas of what I've seen be successful out in the marketplace that I know will be successful here. And so I think that would be the biggest lesson that I would say.
Perspective is everything. Absolutely.
Yeah, don't do the same thing over and over and over again. Don't make the same mistakes.
That's right.
Yeah, that's something that it took me a while to learn that. But anyway, hey, I tell you what, let's wrap the show up. Barry, I tell you what, incredible. I mean, I can't imagine how fast or how much growth there has been in the non-alcoholic beverage business in the last 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. I know it started out with O'Doul's, which was terrible. Now you have the any import non-alcoholic beer is unbelievable. But I really think you're onto something here. That's an incredible vision that you have for the non-alcoholic industry and people to just say, hey, I've had enough, or there's some people out there that really just say, hey, I don't want to drink. I had to go through I had to learn the hard way. But I learned, man. But anyway,
But you
different.
learned.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. And a lot of people in Miami had a lot of fun.
Investors at Bardelia.com, Jay, and we'll hook you up.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was going to say is go to the website, get a hold of Barrie, talk to him about ownership in an incredible growing industry, because I believe this thing's going to take off. It's really going to take off because, start small, you get your online business going, you get some brick and mortars, and all of a sudden, the world's at your beck and call, and you can do whatever you wanted to do, because there's an incredible market out there. Definitely a market out there. People that just say, hey, I don't want to do that. Go to the Southern Baptist Convention, and you can sell every one of those because they don't drink. So,
Exactly. Let's do it.
But anyway, thank you very much for being on the show today. We've had an incredible time. Thank you very much. Jordan, great job again today. Incredible. You're, as always.
Okay.
And anyway, but go to Bardelia.
Investors, Bardelia.com.
Yes.
That's right. Investors at Bardelia.com.
Yeah.
And,
Or if you want to just
Bardelia.com.
try it out, go and spend $100. Just go in there, spend $100, buy some of the products, and see what you think first, and then go back to the investors or whatever. But see how the business cycle works. That's great. So anyway,
Free shipping for orders over 125. So
wow, there you go. And I noticed I got 10% off my first order.
that's right.
So, and I can talk to Sam.
And I tell you what, I'm going to set up a discount code for your audience. So put in J Young with no space, and we'll give you an even better discount. So,
There you go.
appreciate you.
That's awesome. Hey, we'll do that. I'm going to order some. I'll tell my wife about it. We'll make an order because you got holidays coming up. People are drinking wine, they're drinking all this stuff, and I'm not drinking anything. I'm drinking my Diet Cokes. I'm going to go to Bardelia, and I'm going to order something and make a big order. So, hey, thank you very much, everybody. Until next time, everybody, have a great weekend, have a great week, and God bless America. Thank you.